Hi, if you're new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Amy and I love to cruise and I love sharing everything cruising with you. So I was watching a bunch of videos this week from, let me get the channel name right, from Very Unofficial Travel Guides. And Morgan was sharing his stories about his missing luggage and his canceled flight and rebooking and not rebooking his whole entire flight. And we were chatting in the comments and I just thought it was funny because I can be an absolute travel disaster. Not that I actually do anything on my own to cause these issues, but I have some of the craziest things go wrong when I'm traveling. So I just really wanted to share a couple stories with you. I figured maybe you would find some entertainment from it and maybe kind of look out for some warning signs next time you're traveling so you can avoid these issues. But again, like I said, these were no fault of my own, and I don't even know that I could have avoided these issues if I'd done anything different. So, the first story is my friends and I were traveling back from sailing on the Norwegian Prima out of Galveston. We did a 7-night on that ship. Absolutely beautiful ship. Just kind of did the standard Western itinerary. Belize, Honduras, Mexico. And then on the way back, you get into port and it's like an hour and a half drive to Houston, maybe a little less, just depending on the traffic. So, we're trying to get back to the airport. But our flight was originally scheduled for 4:30 because it was either a noon or it was a 4:30 flight. Those were the only choices that we had. So we get to the airport and we get there in plenty of time for us to make the noon flight. Well, the challenge is because I'm a larger person, I did opt for business class on this trip because I didn't want myself to be uncomfortable and I didn't want my seatmate to be uncomfortable. So my friends go and check in and they're like, "Oh, well, we can put you on the noon flight, no problem." So they take their bags and check them and put them on the flight. And then I'm standing there with the representative in the self-service kiosk. And I'm like, "Oh, well, mine won't let me switch to that flight." She said, "Well, just check in for your flight, get your boarding pass, put your luggage tag on, and then just go to the gate. All of you go to the gate together and see what they can do." And it's probably just because it's a different plane, different configuration. Maybe they just need to find you a different type of seat. So, and I don't know if anybody has been in Houston's airport lately, but they're doing a bunch of construction. So the gate that we needed to go to was pretty much the furthest gate from the security point like ever. Thank God they have carts because we would have never made it walking. It must have been a good 2 miles to the gate. So we get there, my friends check in, they're like, "Oh, that's great, you're on the flight." And then I get up to the front and I'm like, "Look, I'm on the next flight, but I've got business class and this plane only has first class." And they're like, "Well, we can't give you first class." And I'm like, "That's fine." I'm like, "Well, could you possibly move someone and let me have 2 seats next to each other since I have business class?" And they're like, "Nope, we can't do that." They're like, "You can have a middle seat." And I'm like, "Okay, well, I guess I'll take a middle seat." And then she's like, "Wait, where's your bag?" And I'm like, "Well, I checked it in. They took it." She said, "Well, then we can't put you on the flight because we can't get your bag here in time." And I'm like, "Okay, fine." So we go round and round for 10 or 15 minutes. She's like, "Well, you just can't fly home without your bag." I'm like, "Okay, that's fine." So my friends were obviously concerned. They're like, "Well, we really don't want to leave you." And I'm like, "You know what? It's fine. Like, I don't want you to sit here for another 4.5 hours waiting for a flight when you can get home now." I'm like, "Just go ahead and go." And they're like, "Okay, well, we'll do that. And then we'll come back and pick you up from the airport." Because originally, I was actually just going to take a taxi to the train station and then take the train back to my apartment. They're like, "No, no, no, no. Because you're doing this and we're going to get out of here earlier, we'll just come back and pick you up." So my friends leave on the flight And the gate attendant who's sitting there watching this all, I go to sit down and wait for them to leave, and then she's kind of smugly looking at me because I didn't get on the flight. And then I'm wandering around the Houston airport, just killing time, waiting for my flight, which just happens to be leaving from the complete opposite end of the airport. So I get myself over there and I sit down. And a few hours later, my friends text me and they're like, "Is this your bag?" And they send me a photo of my bag. And I'm like, "What do you mean? Why do you have my bag?" They're like, "Well, it came out on the carousel." And so I ended up sitting in Houston all that time for nothing because they actually sent my bag without me. So when I checked in, even though my stickers had my original flight on it, they may have not even scanned it. They just threw my bag on board and took it with them. So, like you can't make this stuff up. Like it's just comedy of errors. So I don't know. It just like I don't know what I've done. Like where I don't know. I just don't know how that happened, but I thought it was pretty hilarious for them to get all the way home and actually end up with my bag. So yeah, that was pretty funny. But hey, I did get a free ride from the airport out of it. So that was great. So the second kind of really funny story that has to do with cruising was actually quite a while ago. So I was married several years ago for a very long time, and my ex-husband, or my husband at the time in 2011, was a travel agent. So on occasion, we would get what they call familiarization trips. Sometimes he could take a partner or a travel buddy. So we got an invitation from Viking Cruise Line to sail on one of their ships on a Danube river cruise from Nuremberg to Budapest. And we're like, "Whoo, yeah, of course we're going to do that, right?" Like, absolutely. So we just had to pay the port fees and taxes and then book our airfare. So all is going well. We fly in like a day early to Nuremberg. And because it's at Thanksgiving time, they actually had the Christmas market up and running. And wow, it was such a beautiful city. Like Nuremberg, still to this day, is one of the most beautiful cities I've seen, especially with the Christmas market. It was just lightly snowing, and it was just a chill in the air, and all of the glue vine and all of the tasty food in the market, and just the beauty of the city was just great. So we get to the cruise and we get on board, and then as we go into the main dining room, then they're like, "Oh, well, we have to talk to everybody about the situation." Well, apparently, there is a 1,000-year drought, meaning that the river has not been as dry or as low as it was in 1,000 years. So here we are in Europe. We lived in Los Angeles at the time. So we flew to Germany. We get there, get on the boat, and it can't sail. So we spent the first couple days on the river cruise just sitting in one dock and then taking the bus to and from the places. Regensburg and Passau were absolutely gorgeous. It was worth every minute of it, but just like the hilarity of going on a river cruise and not being able to sail. So at one point, they ended up finally being able to sell to, I believe it was Linz. And then we did the Milk Abbey, and then we came back and they're like, "Okay, well, we're going to need to bus you over to Vienna because that's where another ship, that's as far as the other ship that you were actually supposed to be on could get to. So we're going to put you on a bus and then we're going to take you over there. So you need to pack up everything and you're going to get a new cabin and you're going to be on another ship." So we did that. We packed up everything. We got on the ship. We had our dinner. And then the next morning, we got to enjoy our time in Vienna, which was really fabulous. I do have to say, though, that going in November when it's 30 degrees and 100% humidity was a little bit rough for someone who had only lived in the South or Southern California. So I was absolutely frozen. You know, they sell these river cruises with this fantastical idea that you're going to be sitting out on the deck and you're going to be watching the chateaus and the villas and the mountains and the wineries and all this greenery going by. And then we barely sail a port. So, you know, we're on the ship and we did our Vienna, and that was great, right? The Christmas markets were all out. Absolute fantastic time. I highly recommend the city of Vienna to anybody. I've been there twice, and it is just so great, so easy to get around. And so they're like, well, we're going to have to bus you to Budapest, but we're going to want you to stay another night on the boat, and then we're going to get everybody up at like 4 or 5 in the morning and bus them to Budapest so you can get your flights. And I just happened to be talking to one of the people in charge, and I'm like, you know, that's really like, I would be really concerned about like your guests, like your paying guests on board to have to get up that early and try and catch a flight. You know, maybe there's something you can do. Maybe we could stay at a hotel for the night. So they did end up having everybody leave the ship and pack up and booked a hotel in Budapest for the night, and actually arranged some pretty fantastic entertainment and some really great local food. And then the next morning, everybody was up and headed out on their flights. So I think Viking handled it fabulously. But it was just kind of one of those things for me, like, how does this happen? How do you get invited to this wonderful river cruise? And then you get on it and you can't even sail. Like, I feel bad for the people that paid full price, right? Because those cruises are what, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 a person. I mean, you know, we paid our flights and then a couple $100 in port fees. So we weren't really out that much. But yeah, just the sheer ridiculousness of it. Yeah, so those were just some fun stories. I have plenty of others. I've had some crazy things happen while I've been traveling. So if you'd like to hear more stories, just leave me a note in the comments and I'll be happy to make another video to share my crazy travels. So I just want to thank you for watching today. And if you want to see more content like this, make sure you subscribe to my channel and it'll come up in your recommended feed. And to help my channel grow, just hit that like button and it will let more people know that this is a great video. And if you'd like to be notified every time I release a new video, just hit that bell and turn your notifications on. So don't forget to have a great time when you're out there traveling, even if everything goes wrong, right? You're still traveling, you're still having fun. So just take it in stride like I do. Hopefully you'll get to see me soon on a cruise. And actually the whole reason I did this video was because I am panicking a bit. I'm going on the Wonder of the Seas in the middle of September, and right now there's a terrible hurricane out there. I'm really praying that there won't be one when I'm traveling, but oh my gosh, JetBlue is on my last nerve. They keep canceling and rebooking and rescheduling and moving my flight. And because I'm on frequent flyer miles and I got a casino discount for my cruise, I didn't want to spend as much as the cruise to have a hotel for the night prior to the cruise. So I'm risking it all by flying in the morning of the cruise, and it's making me nervous. So fingers crossed that I don't have another ridiculous story to tell when I take this trip in a couple of weeks. So, you know, if you seek Amy, you may or may not find her on a cruise at this point. So thanks again for watching and have a fabulous day.